Chapter 5. Among Angels. Jamai's stomach grumbled again, conceivably for the millionth time since his incarceration. He had lost count since he began reading the book, and images of food and water were doing a hostile takeover of his thoughts, causing his hands to tremble. And yet his eyes had gotten obese from feasting on thousands of black 12-point font words across more than 100 white pages. Still, he was determined to continue reading his godfather's fascinating childhood story. For doing so was helping him to ignore the slow passage of time and alleviate his fear of the unknown. And so, despite his problems, he flipped to the next page and resumed reading. Reader, while I was airbound with Angel Genrev heading towards the gathering of the inquiry, she took about 6 seconds to inform me about the celestial beings we would be meeting soon and what I should expect of them. She also joked about teleporting to her destination in fine style had I not been with her, but then told me she was glad to have my company in flight. Then we landed close by the second circle of the vast gathering in the heart of imagination. The entire area was clouded with a retinue of angels, including seraphim and cherubim. Their voices were coated with melody, even though they were only talking and whispering and muttering to one another. But some remained quiet, like Angel Genrev, whom I now strode alongside heading towards a less dense section of the inner gathering near the center, where she had pointed out would be our sitting area. We were to sit, only because I was a human being among celestials. For most of the angels in my sight remained standing, and if my eyes had served me too well, their feet were slightly levitated or hovering a couple inches above the sacred ground. Soon we were seated together facing the main officials, who were standing in a circular formation and wearing special gems on their chest and their arms, and had bright colors intricately embellishing the feathers of their wings. Next, we were serenaded by a beautiful musical rendition of adoration to Elohim the Godhead. The song was so melodiously crooned by the humongous choir of angels above us, I was nearly brought to tears. And I was imagining third heaven and trying to compare it to Earth. Oh, I pity myself for having had such derridosity. For planet Earth is a ghetto contrasting second heaven, much more the heaven of heavens. I then watched the head of the Earth Affairs Records, a burly seraph, wave a hand to some angels seated around a long, oval crystal table. A piece of furniture that was only included in the setting to accommodate my sense of ergonomics, and was therefore placed in the epicenter of the gathering, and around which the burly seraph now told them to introduce themselves beginning right to left. Then, calmly and articulately, a third of the occupants did so. Chief Chronicler, representing Second Heaven. Recording Angel Saint Anna, representing Devillin Manslayer. Recording Angel Botice, representing Dory Manslayer. Recording Angel Shine, representing Raymond Reeder. Recording Angel Written, representing Caleb Reeder. Recording Angel Sane, representing Tommy Madden. The head of Earth Affairs Records thanked them, then filled his seat at the head of the table, leaned forward and said, R.A. Written, your human Caleb Reeder must be a deep sleeper for you to be here at this moment. Recording Angel Written, an extremely beautiful feminine being, only smiled with her superior while the others at the table chuckled. Then the square-faced, masculine angel dimmed his grin and continued speaking. Okay, so the messenger angel for Devillin Manslayer is missing again, and I don't have to wonder why. He has been fighting demons in First Heaven for a long while now. But he should be here soon, I hope. He shrugged and went on to say, Anyway, I'm pleased to have you all gathered here for the first time in this manner for this occasion, and we shall have a brief report before storytime begins. Now this is how we will proceed. Based on your inquiry, R.A. Saintiana, you may lead the discussion. He then nodded to recording Angel Saintiana. She first acknowledged the chain of authority, then said, Fellow Celestials and distinguished translated humans, including our newest guest here, John Wong, to whom we are delighted to reveal ourselves, welcome. Between the Earth years of 1984 and 2035, only 5,110 of a collective 20,000 residents of Rage Avenue in Kingston and Simple City in the parish of Manchester, both situated in the island of Jamaica, made it into the third heaven database of eternal life. I want to know about those 2 out of the 7 residents who helped to impact both communities very superlatively with the help of their guardian angels during those years, but unfortunately did not make it to the database of eternal life. And also, I'd like to know more about the conflict resolvers as a unit, such as their stories, their defeats and victories. Sitting across the table facing the burly seraph, recording Angel Scythian leaned in and dryly said, Maybe you'd want to acquire this information from the chief chronicler. He heads the second heaven branch that is responsible for the data of remembrance and sins. Seated beside Angel Saltor, recording angel Dunamis said, "What general information can you share with us, chief chronicler?" The chief chronicler nodded once, and then said, "Angel Saltor will disseminate that information more specifically and contextually." The director of Recording Angels Jamaica Incorporated, Angel Saltor, finally being recognized, began to speak eloquently. "Thank you, chief chronicler. Fellow celestials and translated humans, greetings to you all. Of the 7 people who were attacked by the Dark One during that long period, only 5 of them made it to the third heaven database of eternal life. Yet only one of the remaining 2 is still alive. And that's only because a certain technological malady was forced upon him. But, as you all know, no recording angel for any human is privy to share the complete story about their assigned client while their human remains alive. The other thing to note is that these 7 people were not the only members of the Conflict Resolvers unit to have made it into the database of eternal life. But to the extent that these were the first to ignite a revolution in Simple City, they take center stage in this drama. Angel Saltor sealed his lips and then did a slight nod to Angel Mobay. Then the head of records, Jamaica region, Angel Mobay swept the faces at the table and said, "Chief Chronicler, how about sharing this information to other recording angels here, who can then share them with the universe during celestial storytime? As we know, information without a storyline can be quite dull." They all sent intriguing glances at each other and nodded affirmatively. The chief chronicler then said, "Very good. The format should be very clear from here on. All reports shall take the form of a story, which will be told by each of you recording angels who were assigned these 7 humans. So in this one, we'll focus on these 7 humans of interest, particularly their experiences throughout the years 1984 to 2035. And storytellers should use the active voice instead of the passive voice. In other words, please make storytime very entertaining." All the angels agreed. "I did too." Then the burly head of Earth Affairs Branch Records said, "Good. Now, Chief Chronicler, where shall we begin?"